Well, now we're doing Unit 3B, and this is Part 1. So the first question says, last year my heart beat 4 times 10 to the 7th times. Does this make sense? Well, let's see. The heart beats at 80 beats per minute, and we'll use dimensional analysis, and 60 minutes per hour, 24 hours per day, 365 days per year, and the minutes divide out, the hours divide out, the days divide out, and we're left with years. And by the way, I should, per year, YR, per year, YR. And so I get approximately 4 times 10 to the 7th beats per year, and so it's B. For number 2, it says write in ordinary notation, so 8.8915 times 10 to the 5th. We simply had to move that decimal over 5 places, and we land at 889,150, and that's C. For 3, use scientific notation to perform the operation. Well, we have to divide these two numbers. So 4 divided, this is all, these are all factors here, so we can write 4 over 2, which is 2 times 10 to the, and I'll move this upstairs, this factor of 10, so I have to change the sign on the exponent to positive 1. In reality, 10 to the 1st is simply 10, but we'll add the exponents and we get 10 to the 5th. So 2 times 10 to the 5th, and that's selection A. For 4, we have, we want to know how much, by what factor is the first larger than the second. So that means we just divide, and so 10 to the 48th divided by 10 to the 16th. Moving this factor of 10 upstairs, we change the sign on the exponent. 10 to the 48th times 10 to the negative 16, and 48 minus 16 is 32, and that's selection D. Well, let's keep going. So for Unit 3B, Part 2, we're doing the same question, structure of the question. They want to know how many times larger is the first than the second. And so that's just division. And we've got 10 to the 12th divided by 10 to the 36. Now we're going to move that 10 upstairs, and so we can employ the law of exponents. And then we have to change the sign on the exponent, and now we have 10 to the 12 minus 36 is 10 to the negative 24, and that's selection D. And for 6, same thing again. And so we've got the quotient then of 5.6 over 1.4, and that happens to be 4. And since there's 2 significant digits there, I wrote it as 4.0 using 2 significant digits. Now we move, if we move this factor of 10 upstairs, we change the sign on the exponent. Now it becomes 10 to the 4th, and adding 8 and 4 by the law of exponents, we get 4 times 10 to the 12th, and that's A. For 7, we had to write this in scientific notation, so there's always 1 digit to the left of the decimal. So we get 9 times 10 to the negative 2. We made this value larger by a factor of 100, so we had to make this factor smaller, or excuse me, we had to rewrite this as 10 to the negative 2 to compensate for the movement of the decimal. So that's B. And for number 8, the hard drive of a computer has a capacity of 12 gigabytes. So a gigabyte is means a billion. So 12 gigabytes, and 1 gigabyte is a billion bytes, and the gigabytes divide out, dimensional analysis, and we're left with 1.2 times 10 to the 10th, moving that decimal over once, and using scientific notation, then we have it in scientific notation form. That's going to be selection C. Well, let's keep going. And finally, for part 3, or let's stop. Yeah.